Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? How we doing today? Guys, this is Matt with the Ramsey Voice Studio and ramseyvoice.com. And today we're going to do some awesome Q&A for some of the stuff that people are curious about right now. So, yeah, people wondering about reaction videos, got people wondering about vocal techniques, all of that good stuff. And we're going to get into all of that today. But first, I thought it would be fun, excuse me, if we take a look at this link real quick. Here's the deal today. I'm going to show you guys everything that is inside of the Master Your Voice complete singing course. And I'm going to kind of use that as a jumping off point for answering people's questions. So I'll just click on the link right now. I'll just start walking you through everything that you get. So master your voice, how to expand your vocal range, hit higher notes, and finally gain vocal control. So it's been featured on Disc Makers, Guitar Journal, Music Notes, CD Baby, a bunch of stuff. Enrollment is closing this Friday, March 13th. That's in 4 days, 14 hours, 54 minutes, 48 seconds, 47 seconds, 46 seconds. And we do have a cap on the number of enrollments that we're doing this enrollment. So we're just going to have 50 spots open. And as you can see, we just opened that up. So we've still got 50 spots. Have you been wanting to hit higher notes but don't know how? Have you tried YouTube vocal exercises only to get confused? Have you always wanted a vocal coach but can't afford lessons? Well, Master Your Voice has 60 plus proven singing techniques to help you expand your vocal range, hit higher notes without straining, all for a fraction of the cost of voice lessons. So if you're looking for a vocal coach that has some fantastic stuff online that you can have for your very own, you get lifetime access for it, check out that Master Your Voice sales page right there. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through a little bit of what you get in the different modules. So in the first module, you've got the section on warming up. And it's super important that you warm up before you do any serious singing. So in the first phase, I'm going to show you how to add an octave or more to your range within minutes. And I know that that sounds like a really bold claim, but it's pretty crazy because if you do some very, very simple warm-ups, I show you how to do the I'll show you how to do the and I also show you how to use a straw to warm up your voice. And that is really, really amazing for adding a lot of range to your voice very quickly. And that's followed up by the breath control section. Guys, if you're just joining us, check out the link that I dropped at the top. I'm under the second phase, which is breath control. And I'm telling everybody exactly what is in this course. That way you guys can check it out for your own and see. Basically, here's the deal. The only reason that people should buy a singing course these days is because of the structure that the vocal course has and the accountability that it gives you by actually investing in your voice. Now, the truth is that you can just find voice lessons everywhere. There's a glut, or there's just like a ton of voice lessons online available for free, tons of different warm-ups. What's the problem with that? The only problem with that is that none of them are put into a structure that actually makes sense for your voice. So like today, I'm really interested in whistle register. So I'm going to find some whistle register singing techniques. Or today, I'm really interested in chest voice. So I'm going to find some chest voice techniques. But the thing is, if you actually walked through that door and into a voice lesson with me, you would not immediately be working on whistle register. Why? Because the voice is built in a very, very specific kind of like ground up way. So a lot of people are always asking like, how do I expand my vocal range? How do I sing stronger? Stuff like that. You have to follow these very simple singing techniques in a logical order. And the problem with YouTube vocal coaching in general is that, it's a bunch of us YouTube vocal coaches out there that are trying to put out videos that are getting the most views possible. And a lot of times that's just going for like the really sexy subjects like whistle register, like vibrato. But what if you can't even sing in chest voice yet? How are you going to sing in whistle register if you can't sing in chest voice? That's why I'm putting this course out there. I love to see everybody joining. Hello. I see Santiago says, hey, Matt, I want to know how to do mixed voice because when I try to do mixed voice, I raise my chest voice up. Absolutely, Santiago. We're going to talk about that. Let's see. And Ryan says, I like your reaction videos and how you analyze the singing. Maybe react to a group called Little Mix next because I really want what you think about them. Just a real quick thing. If you do want me to do a reaction video to the song that you request, I'm happy to do that. I always make a note of them. However, if you want to guarantee that I'm going to do it soon, go ahead and just drop me some money in the super chat. There's a little dollar sign down there. We can do $5 or $10 and I'll make your reaction video at the top of my list. Otherwise, I'll just get to it whenever I can because I do have quite a backlog right now. So I think that's a pretty good deal, $5 or $10 to react to it immediately. Anyway, guys, we are still on the Master Your Voice page. I'll drop the link in here again, just in case you need to catch up. And we're under the section that is phase 2 breath control. So I'm getting to your question, Santiago, because like I was just saying, in order to sing with mixed voice, you need to do this other stuff first. So the second phase in Master Your Voice is breath control. And in breath control section, I'm going to teach you the right breath for singing. And I'll show you that right now, which just means that you're going to inhale. Your stomach is going to expand on the inhale. And as you sing or as you exhale, the stomach is going to come back in. And notice that I didn't like raise up my shoulders in order to do that. Everything's really relaxed. There's a whole lot more to breath control than that. And I also have like a ton of exercises within that section that will help you increase your vocal control. But that's what you need to know to start off with. That brings us to phase 3. And I'm still getting to you, Santiago. Phase 3, vocal tone. In vocal tone, I'm going to show you how to sing with the bottom part of your voice or with chest voice. So in the chest voice exercises, there's a lot of them. But like, for instance, even like a ga 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 or a ma 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 is better vocal tone than a ma 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 ma. Why? Because you're actually using more of the vocal cord. You're actually using more of the sound in there. That's awesome. Now, let's go back and answer some questions. Yeah, okay, so Natalie asks a good question. On review of the Demi Lovato video, you talk about a low larynx. Can you explain some of the techniques to control the low larynx? Absolutely. So this is just a very, very basic stuff, and I show you how to do this in Master Your Voice too. But in general, when people are learning to sing, oftentimes their larynx will go super high. This kind of goes back to what Santiago was saying in terms of bringing the chest voice up. Excuse me. It's early here. My voice is still getting warmed up. When a singer starts singing from the bottom to the top of their voice, oftentimes their larynx will chase it. In other words, as I sing higher from an my larynx goes way, way up. In the case of Demi Lovato, what she was doing is she was actually pushing her larynx a little bit lower in order to get that kind of yawnier sound. So you could look at a song like Feeling Good by Nina Simone, where she pushes her larynx down a little bit. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Versus birds flying high, where it's like, it's a little bit more, and this happens all the time in singing. So I'll show you how to control that a little bit and Master Your Voice, but I would say in general, you don't want the larynx to be too high or too low. Too low, you sound like an opera singer. Too high, and you sound really squeezed. In general, you want it to be really balanced. But the reason that Demi Lovato can get away with it is because she can do anything. She can make her voice sound amazing no matter what she's doing. So she's got a lot of control over that. Guys, in case you're curious, I do have Master Your Voice. My complete singing course is now open. There's the link for it right now. At the moment, I'm just taking you through the basic techniques that I'm going to show you in Master Your Voice. And that way you can see for yourself whether this is a good investment for you. We're on phase 4 right now, which is vocal agility. And vocal agility is just my way of saying using the top part of your voice, using more of your head voice. So, like, I'll show you examples where you're singing from the top down. And this is really, really important for a lot of singers like Santiago, I was mentioning, that pull their chest voice up. So I've got my chest voice is super strong. But if I instead start in the top part of my voice will automatically start to kind of thin to the perfect amount, which will help me balance out those notes a lot better. And there's certainly a lot more to it in the vocal agility section. We also have like coo, 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 where you're singing from the top on like a more close vowel, and ooh, where you're singing from the top down. And that's going to give you just a little bit more of that feeling of releasing some of that weight that Santiago was talking about. Fantastic question. Let's go back here. Hey, Carlos, ¿cómo estamos, chico? I'm practicing right now. Yeah, because Marisol is in Taipei, dude. You got nothing else to do right now. Okay, let's see. I'm going to just take a look at some of the questions that have been asked. Let's see here. Natalie says, hi, I love your YouTube channel. I watch so much of your video that I'm starting to believe that you speak to me and you are living in my living room. Wow. Well, I don't live in your living room, but I do live in your computer. So and you can have even more of me too when you enroll and master your voice, because I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but there is an exclusive VIP Facebook community that you get access to. As soon as you enroll and master your voice, you get an invite to it. And in there, I'm always challenging singers to like do more with their voice. We have fun challenges, but also people have a lot of obstacles and they need a little bit of help, but maybe they don't want to, pay for an extra voice lesson when they've already enrolled and master your voice. Well, the Facebook community is a great place that I can use to kind of like give them a little bit more feedback directly. Let's see. Okay, Rayani, maybe. Some vocal coaches claim that everyone can sing if trained the right way. If someone does not have a naturally beautiful voice, how could that be possible? Okay, so this is a really good question. And it's a really important question, I think, because I'm going to tell you guys something really honest right now. Very, very vulnerable. And nobody probably wants to hear this. And it might even hurt my chances of, selling more courses or something like that. But I've never felt like I have like $1 million voice, like $1 million like album selling voice. I'm sure that I could make a living by selling albums and writing my original music. I have to some extent for short periods of time. Yeah, Austin's really expensive, so that doesn't last long. But I do love teaching, so this is what I do full time. The question is it possible to train your voice to sound good even if you don't have a naturally sounding good? So to go back to my statement, I've never felt like I have $1 million voice, but I do know that I can do almost like anything with my voice that someone asks me to, that a producer asks me to. They're like, hey, can you sing that note in falsetto? Sure. Actually, I want a little bit more of a mixed voice. Okay, note vibrato. I can do all of these things that they ask me to do because I've developed so much vocal control over my voice. And I think that that's the big difference between, naturally sounding good and just, knowing how to work your voice. Now, there are people who do know how to do both. And that's like the real superstars that you see out there. There's a lot of really terrible singers out there with really fantastic careers. Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, guys, I love you. Neil Young, guys, I love you. But the voices themselves are not naturally talented. They've just learned how to use them and make them sound the best for what they are. And I think that that's a really important distinction to make. Great question. Santiago, I'm going to get to your question right now because now we have to talk about master your voice. So check out this page. Just scroll down a little bit. We're under phase 5, and this is hitting high notes with power. And this is the section that everyone wants to know about because in phase 5, we're going to be talking about mixed voice. So up until this point in the course, we've talked about warming up. We've talked about breath control and posture. So that deep diaphragmatic breath where you're inhaling low and slow and steady. We've talked about chest voice. Ga, 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 ga. We've talked about head voice and vocal agility. Ooh, and using a little bit more of the top part of your voice. But in phase 5, we're actually going to be working on hitting higher notes with power. So we'll be looking at exercises that you guys have seen before, like a or an octave repeat, like a or maybe a nay, 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 where you're learning to hey, hey, like to hit those higher notes with more power or with a mix. So Santiago was asking, how do I sing those higher notes when I'm just used to pulling up chest voice? Well, a really good thing for you to look into, Santiago, is going up into those notes and then coming down. For instance, turning that scale around like a nay, 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 nay. Why is that so beneficial? Because basically it doesn't let you push up your chest voice to those top notes. Instead, you'll be starting from the top down with exercises that actually help you sing with a mix. Great questions so far, guys. All right, so I'm going to go back and answer a few more questions. Let's see. Okay, Nova99 asks, hi, Matt. I was wondering what would be the best exercise to master high-pitched notes. We just talked about that. Good job. Okay, Ryan also asks, how can a singer improve their stamina and manage to sound good while moving around and dancing, especially while touring? Well, that is an art, my friend. And as a matter of fact, one thing that I practice a lot is I'll do like jumping jacks, or I'll run in place for 15 to 20 seconds so that my heart rate is really high. And then I'll do my vocal exercises. And you'd be amazed at how hard that is, because it's one of those things that it's like just that little boost of adrenaline and that surge of extra energy just makes you feel like so much more distracted. And like your body is not meant, singing is not a survival based mechanism. The body is always going to favor your heart rate and your breathing and some of your basic like cognitive functions over singing. Singing is always harder than that. So you're always battling with this, with kind of like what your body is like actually built for. And so in this particular case, what you want to do is you want to train your voice to be able to perform no matter what the circumstances. And you could try running in place a little bit. You could try doing some jumping jacks and then doing vocal exercises. It can be a really, really great way to start off with that. Great question so far. Is everyone able to hear me okay? Can everyone say yes if they can hear me okay? Okay, so no one can hear me. Oh, okay, great. Good. Awesome. I'm glad you guys can hear me. Awesome. Okay, so let's go back and take a look at the final phase of the second part of Master Your Voice. So that's here, again, in case you're not there yet. And in phase 6, scroll down a little bit, and we're under phase 6 in belting. And this is the part that you've been waiting for. Because there are a lot of like speech level singing, CBT, based techniques and singing programs out there that talk about belting, but there's an entire section of my course dedicated to belting here. And that's really, really important. And basically, I'm going to show you how to use more open vowels to get that really, really strong sound. So before, where we were doing like a gee is a more close vowel. In this section, we'll be using more open vowels to give you a lot more of that kind of chest voicey sound, like a ga 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 ga. Gives you that big. I'm probably blowing my microphone out. It's going to give you a much stronger sound up there. And I show you how to do that gradually and Master Your Voice. Like we'll start off with more of like a na 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 ba 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 ba, ba. Ooh, that ba feels so good in my voice today. It's like rainy here and cold, and it's still kind of early. So it's like my voice is just like super, super rough still. Anyway, and it teaches you how to kind of like go through that in a very, very gradual way. Awesome. Let's answer some more questions. Okay, scroll, 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 type, type, type. Let's see here. Okay, Shakar asked, I used to hit a particular note in a song before, which I can't even get close to. Please tell me how I can get back what I could do before, sir. And you're awesome. Shakar, you're awesome. Thank you. Okay, so the question is like, how do you hit notes that you used to be able to hit? Now, I'm gonna ask you one other question, Shakar. And that's are you talking about before puberty? Like, are you talking about before your transition to becoming a man? I assume that you're a man. It sounds like a man's name to me. Excuse me. That's better. And if the answer is yes, if that you used to be able to hit higher notes before your voice changed, well, that's totally normal. That is totally normal and totally typical because I think I got it now. Because you're basically developing a larger voice box. And along with that larger voice box, your vocal cords also get thicker. And just like the strings on a guitar, if your vocal cords are thicker, then you're going to get lower notes. So the question is, can you get some of those notes back? Absolutely. Will you still be able to be a soprano singer like you were before puberty? Probably not. No, because your voice type itself has changed from more of like a really, really high tenor, or you could even think of a soprano. It doesn't really matter before puberty. They're kind of like categorized in similar ways. But as your voice drops and it develops, then it's really, really important that you start working with exercises to get some of that range back. Some of those great exercises are lip trills, goo goo goos, gee gee gees, nay nay nays. Also make sure that your voice isn't getting too tight. It's very, very tempting to kind of really squeeze. And especially if your larynx has gotten a lot bigger and you've gone through this big transition with your voice, things will be tight in here for a while. And that's why it's so important to work with a good vocal coach or enroll in a great singing course. So, to answer your question, Shakar, in Master Your Voice, you would want to pay a lot of attention to the vocal agility section as well as the hitting high notes with power section. Both of those would be really good. Okay, great questions. Let's go back to Master Your Voice for a second. Just check this out, guys. If you're wondering, we are going to look at the last three phases of Master Your Voice. We've made it here. Okay, so phase 7. We're under phase 7, singing without strain. I just want to point something out real quick. Actually, yeah, too soon for that. Okay, phase 7, singing without strain. So in this particular case, think of where we've come from. You've warmed up your voice, you've learned how to sing and breathe correctly. You've warmed up your chest voice, you've sung in head voice, you've sung in mixed voice, and you've belted. Okay. Now, the truth of the matter is, at this point in your vocal training, most of the time the larynx gets a little bit too high and things get a little bit too tight. And the truth of the matter is that's kind of a necessary step. Like, it's a lot easier to ba 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 than it is ba 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 with like a perfect vocal tone without any strain or any squeeze in it. Ba 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 ba. It's just an easier way of getting there first. The downside of that is that for the most part, you're probably going to have a higher larynx because of it. Now, you don't want to sing like I love you, like with a super high larynx. So in the singing without strain section, I'm going to show you, and this goes back to Ryan's question earlier of how to basically manipulate your larynx how you need to. In this particular section, I'm going to show you how to keep your larynx resting, even as you're singing more and more belted kind of stuff. So you go, ga, 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 ga. A more yawny sound will kind of balance the larynx. If that was ga, super high, ga, if my larynx is a little bit lower, those notes become a lot easier. And then you can balance out right in the middle, ga, 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 and not sound like an opera singer. So that's part of that section. The yawny sound is really, really important in singing, especially for beginners, because oftentimes beginners will have like a super high larynx and it's just really difficult. Let's go back and answer some questions. Okay, great. Phil says something, can you react to 13 times Harry Styles had me shook? Just a quick reminder, if you guys do want me to react to videos, I have a massive, massive backlog of videos of everybody that's like requested that I do stuff. So if you want to guarantee that I'm going to react to it soon, go ahead and just do a little contribution. We can do $5 or $10, and I'd be happy to put it at the top of my list to get it up there. Let's see. Wow, lots of emojis. Lots of emojis. Oh my gosh. Harshdeep Singh says hello. Hello, Harshdeep. Amansa. Hello. There's Amansa. I remember you. Hi. Can we know how to differentiate between talented singer or a singer that has been taught to sing? Yes, I would say that most of the time you can tell the difference between a trained singer and an untrained singer. Not most of the time. I don't know that beginners would be able to hear, even like pretty good singers. I don't know that they'd be able to hear. I can certainly hear. I can tell. And a big difference happens in the vowels. So like if they start singing higher notes in their voice and they start to narrow their vowels, like in ah, and then they start to open them again, that's usually a result of training. Whereas you'll see a lot of people that will they'll keep the same vowel shape, and that totally screws them. So I would say that's the biggest thing that I look for is vowels. Let's see here. Harshdeep says, are you playing PUBG? I don't know what PUBG is, but no, I'm not playing it as far as I know. Amansa says, is the mumbling of the method or the tech is the mumbling of the best method or technique for voice warm up? I assume that you're talking about the lip trill. It kind of sounds like you're mumbling like that. Now, the lip trill is definitely a favorite, but I wouldn't say it's the best. There's lots of different ones, and I talk about them all in Master Your Voice. There's like there's a tongue roll. There's an oh, that feels really good in my voice too. Yeah, feels really good. So those are just a few of the ones that I cover, but no, and there's also straw exercises where you're going through the straw, and that can be really helpful too. Let's see. Ryan says, a girl group singer called Perry Edwards lost her deep, dark voice after removing her tonsils, but on the other hand, she can now sing higher notes and belt stronger. Can you explain? No, I can't. I am not a ENT, so I have had some experience with students that get their tonsils taken out, and for the most part, they're really happy about it. So no, I can't explain that. Let's see. Abdullah Al-Anan says, how to add more edge in the mid mix? Great question. So the mid mix, and I think I know exactly what you're talking about, Abdullah, is like when you're singing around like an E flat or an E4, if you're a guy, it'd be kind of like an E in that little area of your voice. The problem with that spot in your voice is that you're right in between two big resonance spots. So like the first formant, second formant, and it's kind of like one of your harmonics or the note that you're singing, one of the multiples of the note that you're singing is right in between those spaces. And that can be super, super difficult to sing in that spot in your voice because there's no resonance for it. So the question becomes, how do you make that sound similar to the notes above it? Because once you get to a B flat, you're fine. And once you're down on a D4, you're fine. But what do you do for all of the notes in the middle? Well, the answer is you take some of the resonance that you feel on that B flat where things were easy, and then you start to bring that down with you. Or you could also bring the resonance from the D4 upwards. I wouldn't recommend that because that's back to what our good friend Santiago at the very beginning called pulling chest voice. So I would recommend starting at the B flat 4 and coming down. Let's see. Amansa asks, can a baritone singer get more training of their voice as a tenor singer? Well, if you're a baritone, you're a baritone for life. If you're a tenor, unless you're a young person that hasn't gone through your voice change yet, or if you're a tenor for life for the most part, unless you're very, very old or very, very young. So in most of your life, that is your voice type, and that is what you're stuck with, and that is what you need to make sound as good as possible. But if what you're asking is, will it improve your voice to sing notes outside of your range? Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to get as much kind of voice as possible through those spots. That's a fantastic question. Okay, great. Natalie asks, how to decompress the voice, cool down after singing. What do you suggest? I suggest, first of all, I would ask myself, is it really necessary to do a cool down? And the reason that I ask that is because a lot of singers, time heals all wounds. You know what I mean? It's like if you were singing like, I got another confession to make, and you're just like belting like all night, and your voice sounds like this, more vocal exercises are not going to do the trick for you. They're really not, because you've already like used the instrument as much as you can. But I do know that sometimes, and this is just my own experience, sometimes what you want to do is you want to think in opposites. So if you've been using a lot of head voice, and you've been doing that a whole lot, and your voice is really worn out from using head voice, use chest voice. Use a lot of that chest voice feeling to keep everything really, really relaxed and kind of work the opposite muscle for a while. Or if you've been singing with a lot of chest voice, decompress with some head voice. Lots of those exercises should help. But again, I would ask myself, is it really necessary? Has everyone been able to check out the Teachable, Master Your Voice singing page? Can you say yes if you've had a chance to check that out, just so I know that that everything's working and everything shows up right? Man, it's raining here again. It's gross. Can everyone hear me okay? Did everyone check out the Teachable page with all the Master Your Voice stuff on there? Awesome. Great. Amansa says yes. Glad everything looks good. All right. Fantastic. Great question. Let's go back to Teachable for just a second, and let's finish up our tour of Master Your Voice. Okay, so phase 8. We're under phase 8, everyone. And this is the vocal effects section. So the vocal effects section is super cool because vocal effects are something that everyone wants to do. I'm going to talk you through 3 main vocal effects, vibrato, legato, and crescendos. What are they? Vibrato is that shimmer that you hear in a person's voice. That just sounds like the note is wobbling a little bit. Legato is when you're singing smoothly. So a lot of the exercises that we've done up until that point in the course will be like ga 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 ga, where you have that ga ga ga, like you have that kind of like big consonant sound to help you. But legato means like an ah, and even though that doesn't seem as hard, it's way, way harder than having a consonant on there. So like you may sing like a ma 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 ma, but can you do an ah? That can be a lot harder to do. So I talk you through those. And crescendos, finally, is when you're basically adding a little bit more volume for each note. So it'd be like an e, where I'm like going back and forth on the volume, where it's starting light and going in, starting light, going in. And that's a really, really important one to do because legato and crescendos and vibrato happen all the time in music. there's a lot of different techniques to show you those. But most everybody wants to know about vibrato. So I'll just stick with that one for right now. One of the best things that you can do with vibrato, if you can't find that yet, is you take your two fingers, place them in the middle of your solar plexus, sing a note like an E, and then basically pulsate into your diaphragm like an E. And even though that's not real vibrato, that will show your voice how to do it. And I show you very gradually how to add that in from an E to letting it go, E to actually singing it right off. E. Awesome. Let's go back and answer some more questions. Okay, let's see here. Ryan says, "You are such a nice person." Well, thank you, Ryan. I think you're a nice person. Hi, got lost looking for help on YouTube, and I wonder what muscles do you use when you exhale? Well, an exhale, even though you're using some muscles, the primary kind of muscle that is involved with exhaling is actually the diaphragm, but it's not actually contracting. So rather than a muscle like contracting, like when you're lifting a weight, it's actually relaxing. So when you're inhaling, the diaphragm is kind of shaped like this, like an upwards bowl. And when you inhale, it kind of flattens out. And if you can imagine that my lungs are on top of this muscle here, you could understand that like as my hand descends, it kind of pulls my vocal, or not my vocal cords, pulls my lungs open and they fill with air. And when I exhale, all that happens is that muscle relaxes. When I go, and then the diaphragm goes back to that kind of bowl shape. So in, out. So it's really more about a muscle relaxing, but the diaphragm was the answer to your questions. Let's see. Advice to build mixed voice and falsetto. We've talked about that a lot today in terms of the Master Your Voice Complete Singing course, because there's a lot of stuff in that course that will show you how to go from that kind of falsetto to an E to more of a mixed voice. Some of the exercises that I mentioned and have demonstrated today would be the gee, 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 the nay, 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 the na, na, na. Those can all help you refine your mixed voice and your falsetto. Great. Awesome. Aji says, how do you do whistle voice for males? Well, Aji, I have a fantastic video on YouTube that you can check out. One of my favorite exercises is basically where you're kind of pretending to yawn and you just allow the vocal cords to stay a little bit tight. Not a lot tight, not super squeezed, just a little bit. So it's kind of like an where you're basically just kind of like, it will almost sound like a dolphin squeal for a second. It's like your cords are together. And as you exhale, you're just allowing a really small amount of relaxed breath into that. And then you can start to kind of refine that and turn that into better notes for you. Let's see. Joshua says, when I try to sing with vibrato, my pitch gets off. Yes. Well, vibrato includes a change in pitch. So that's definitely a part of it. My note is actually going up and down. And if you could see like my voice, like on a pitch monitor, you would see that it's kind of fluttering like that. But if your question is like, how do I, like, I used to be able to sing in pitch, but now that I have vibrato, I'm like off pitch a lot. Take out the vibrato for a second and see if you can just get the note back and then add a little bit of it back into it. Great question. Let's take a look at the final phase in Master Your Voice. And if you're just joining us, just scroll down the page a little bit, going to the complete vocal warm-up. This is phase 9, the complete vocal warm-up. So by this point, you've made it through all the video lectures of the course. And that's fantastic. But what if you don't want to go through and have to watch every video again or go back to each individual vocal warm-up that's after the videos? Instead, what you can do is you can go to the complete vocal warm-up. And this is 30 minutes long. I've got them separated into male and female categories. And basically, it's going to take you through everything that we worked on in Master Your Voice from the start all the way to the finish. And by the time that you're done with that, you are ready to rock. And in fact, that's what I do sometimes before I start teaching for an 8-hour day, because I have to warm up my voice too, is I'll just pop on the complete vocal warm up, 30 minutes long, 30 minutes later, I am good to go. And I wanted to point out something. It's right below the complete vocal warm up section. It's the 30 days to add 5 notes to your range. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but for everyone that signs up for Master Your Voice, I am guaranteeing that you're going to add 5 notes to your range. 5 notes. I do believe that if you take our 30-day challenge and you actually do the work, do the complete course, you will add 5 notes to your range. 5 notes down or 5 notes up, 5 notes total. So if your range is here, you're going to add 5 individual notes to it. And that is a bold promise. You're not going to find that with any other singing course. Can't find that with Ken Tamplin's course. Can't find that with Aaron Anastasi's course. Can't find that with Brett Manning's course. It's only in Master Your Voice. Why? Why do I feel like I can make this claim, like even if I don't know you? It's because when you enroll in Master Your Voice, you get a lot of personal attention from me. We have a private VIP community that you get access to as soon as you enroll. And that basically means that, like, if you're having trouble and you've worked through the course and you've worked through it within 30 days and you still can't add 5 notes to your voice, you reach out to me. You reach out to me personally. My email is everywhere. And what you're going to do is you just say, hey, Matt, I've been trying to hit this note for a while. I can't do it. Can you please help me? And we'll hop on a call. So even, you've heard that right. Like, even if you didn't purchase individual extra lessons or something like that, if you can't add 5 notes to your range, I'm going to help you personally. But you have to do that within 30 days. And I have to see that you work through the course up until that point. And then if you're still not satisfied, I've worked with you, we can't add 5 notes to your range, or you're still not satisfied, I require that you ask for a refund. So you're not going to find a better guarantee than that. Okay, great. Let's see. Let's get back to some questions. Joshua asks, time I practice on vowel E, I get vibrato, but while singing, much pitch loses. I can't understand what you're trying to say. I'm sorry, Joshua. Let's see. Dikesh says, hello, Justin. My name is not Justin. My name is Matt. Matt Ramsey is my name. Hello, Justin. How can I keep on with the same notes? I often go off with notes. So sorry for my trouble with English. So the question is, how do you sing more on pitch? And the answer is, you need to work with exercises that help you improve your pitch. Unfortunately, most of the time, the reason that people sing off pitch is not because they can't hear the pitch. It's because their voice and their ear haven't agreed. In other words, they haven't coordinated their voice to a point where their voice and their ear will sing the same note. Like, they'll hear a note in their voice or hear a note in their head. They'll try to sing it, but what comes out is completely different. And a lot of times that requires some one-on-one work. You know, you could maybe consider picking up the Master Your Voice package that includes some singing lessons with me where we can work on your pitch as well. But oftentimes I'll even say, like, if pitch is like your major issue, you might even want to find somebody in your town, someone cheap. Like, it does not have to be a great voice teacher if you're still learning to sing in tune. A lot of people sing pretty well in tune, when they come to me and they're like, man, I can't sing in tune. And I'm like, yeah, you can. Like, you just matched everything that I said. So you want to make sure that you're actually really, really struggling with pitch first. And if that is indeed the case, and you can send me a recording or something like that, I'll review it for $50. It's on my site. You just go to book singing lessons and there's a little virtual song critique. If you send that to me, I'll critique it for you and tell you if you're like really, really need help with the pitch and you need to work with someone in your town, or whether you're a good candidate for Master Your Voice. I'll let you know. Anyway, let's see. Josh said, thank you for responding to my request with a heart. Well, I heart you, Josh. Let's see. Is there any difference between head voice and mix? Yes, I would say this is a confusing subject, but I actually just published a video on this and you can check it out. Basically, the difference between head voice, as a lot of people think of it, and mixed voice, as a lot of people think of it, has to do with how much the vocal cords are closing. So in other words, I might sing in that is my head voice, right? In the classical sense of the word. But if I sing in I'm in my mixed voice. And the biggest difference between those two is how much the vocal cords are closing. And if the vocal cords are just barely touching, just like the tops of them, ah, is what I get. But if more of the vocal cords are closing, ah, I get that fuller sound. So that is the big difference between the two. But I would say that there's a lot of work that goes into making these into these. It can be really, really difficult sometimes. Great questions, guys. I'm just gonna finish uh, my presentation on Master Your Voice. If you haven't yet, check out the link right there. That's gonna show you the enrollment page for Master Your Voice. We're just walking through kind of like some of the different modules. So right now, I'm under the section that says Join the Neighborhood. And this is a screenshot of the Facebook community that you join as soon as you enroll in the class. I send you an invite in the first lecture. So you're going to join this exclusive community. You'll be invited to do lots of different fun challenges, to find more accountability if practice is a hard thing for you. This is the way to keep you on track. Okay, excellent. I'm really excited about this next section. Check out the section underneath that says track your singing progress. And there's a screenshot with like a weird kind of like graph thing on there. I'm super excited about this because I just launched a brand new vocal range tester. It's a vocal range finder. And what it does is you sing your lowest note, you sing your highest note, and it will tell you your range. Why is that so important? It's so important because that will help you pick songs that fit your voice better, help you determine your voice type. It will also help you know whether you're making progress in singing lessons or not. It's like, I guarantee that you're going to make 5 extra notes in your voice. I better be able to prove it, right? So as soon as you join the course, you'll see that there's the app there to test your range, and that will really help. Let's see. Short on time. Perfect. Check out the 30-minute vocal warm-up. We covered that. Get some face time. This is the option that you have to book individual additional lessons with me. So like, for instance, like you enroll in Master Your Voice, but there are also discounted lesson packages included with that basically you can check out in case you need some individual feedback. Motivation can strike anywhere. This is talking about how Master Your Voice is compatible with all devices. You can practice on your laptop, your desktop, your phone, your iPad, whatever. It's all there. Let's see. Okay, so let's get back to some questions. All right, Joram Dubi says, sorry, Ramsey, I'm a singer from Tanzania in Africa. I need to sing high notes. Please show me the way. Well, you can check out, the exercises that I referenced earlier in this live stream. The gee gee gee, the nay nay nay, the na na na. Guys, again, I'm giving away the store today. I'm giving away everything that's in Master Your Voice. The whole reason to enroll in Master Your Voice is to get the accountability of practicing, but also the structure. Like 9 times out of 10, when you're on YouTube and you're just looking for vocal exercises, you're asking about stuff like vibrato, whistle register. This is what people search for. But what if you can't sing in chest voice yet? What if you can't hit high notes yet? How can you hope to add more vibrato if you can't actually even sing in a mixed voice yet? That's why it's so important to go along with the structure of this course. So to answer your question, Joram, go back to the gee 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 exercise that I recommended, the nay 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 exercise, the na na na. There's a whole lot of them that will help you sing those higher notes. But specifically within the course, you'll find the vocal agility section will be the most helpful. All right, guys, we've got 5 minutes left. I'm going to answer as many questions as I can, put them all in. 5 minutes is left on the clock. Get your questions in. I'm going to answer them as rapid fire as I can. Okay, so let's see. Eli, and this is going to be the lightning round. Okay, so I'm just going to go and go and go. Okay, Eli says, hi, how do I keep a healthy voice at all times? At all times, impossible. You're going to get sick sometimes. But for the most part, lots of water, lots of sleep, avoid allergies, eat foods that make you feel good. In other words, probably have lots of lean protein and vegetables. Chicken breast and broccoli can be a lifesaver. And also make sure that you warm up your voice before you do a lot of extreme singing. Let's see. Ida says, should I sing if you feel a cold coming on? Probably not if you feel a cold coming on. If you're already sick, that's probably not a good idea, because the vocal cords get kind of swollen when you're sick. And if the vocal cords are swollen, then basically they're not vibrating as effectively as they do when you're healthy. So instead, you want to make sure that your vocal cords are back to normal before you start doing like any really rough singing. I've definitely taught people that have colds before. It's not perfect, but usually we can actually help their voice get some flexibility back. But again, that would be more with a private voice teacher, rather than just like a singing course or just finding stuff on YouTube. Just be careful. Okay. Ida Campbell says, I have your CD. Is that enough? Ida, I don't have a CD out there. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I have a lot of YouTube videos, and you can enroll in my complete singing course, but it's all online because CDs are hella lame. And a lot of the stuff out there is just like really old. So I think that you're probably talking about Brett Manning's CDs, or Seth Riggs CDs. It's totally different. This is my course. This is my stuff, and it's laid out with exercises that I've used with more than 500 students. It's going to be very different. Excellent. Social logic. Again, this is the lightning round. We have 3 minutes left on the clock. Get all of your questions in. Hello, Ramsey. I'm a baritone with D2 to G4 vocal range. Social, thank you so much for being honest about your vocal range. Everyone says like, I have a vocal range of like D1 to D8. It's crazy. It's silly. There's no possible way. Can a baritone like me extend my vocal range? Here, I'm going to let my dog in. She wants to come in here. Come on. If you guys want to meet Lola, she's here. Okay. Can a baritone like me extend my vocal range? Absolutely. Yeah, anyone can expand their vocal range. And as a matter of fact, you should, especially if you're a baritone. Baritones and basses especially need to be able to sing higher notes in their voice than other voice types. So, for instance, like a tenor will have a natural facility with the top end of his range, but unfortunately, tenors kind of rule the world right now. So, if you're a baritone or a bass, it's all the more important to work that top part of your voice, and it is absolutely possible. Look at John Legend. John Legend's a baritone. David Bowie's a baritone. Was a baritone, and so there's a lot of like really, really great singers out there that can extend their range. Let's see. Solomon says, I'm Solomon from India. Can I have your phone number to contact you for lessons? You cannot have my number. I mean, it's on my website. I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to. But if you want to book a Skype lesson, it's really easy. You can just do it here. Just to clarify something, Skype lessons are not free if you're outside of the US. You'll have to book an hour Skype lesson. So I doubt that I'm going to be in your price range, Solomon, but I guess it's possible. Let's see. Abdullah says, which exercises would help in order to hit the A4s with more chest, but in a mixed voice? Okay, the answer is you want to work on exercises that are going to start opening up the vowels slightly, like a na 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 na. Let's see where we. So an A is going to be like in here, like a na 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 na. You want to start with exercises that are either going to start right there or going to start right above it. And that's just because like the resonance spot on a B flat is a lot stronger than the resonance spot on like an E. So for instance, like you may be able to make a na 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 like on a B, or yeah, on a B, sound really good, and bring that down. Na 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 na, and you'll find that really, really helpful. Great. Lightning round. 2 minutes left on the clock. Let's see. Ida says, do you instruct with face-to-face video? Absolutely. I sent you the link there. It's under the book singing lessons. And you can book a Skype lesson. But again, you're going to have to pay for a Skype lesson. A lot of people ask me for free voice lessons, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, you're going to have to book a Skype lesson. Let's see. Amonsa says, I'm a baritone singer that can hit more than an F5. Just want to get clarification. Am I a baritone or a tenor singer? Good question. I would have to hear you. Send me a recording if you want to know. Or you can also test out your vocal range when you enroll in the singing course. There's a link to the range finder that will help you know for sure. Let's see. Ida, last question here. Ida says, how do I find my voice as opposed to singing like someone? Should I sing songs where I'm comfortable? Absolutely. You should sing songs where you're comfortable. But I would say learning to sing in your own voice rather than like someone else is really difficult at first because everybody starts off imitating someone else. So I would say working with a good voice teacher is probably the best answer to that question. Guys, I'm going to just add a link back to my complete singing course, Master Your Voice, before we wrap up here. Let's see. Leah Mueller says, "Do you think there is a better vocalist than Dimash?" So the answer is, in terms of technical singing, I would say that Dimash is definitely one of the best singers that I've ever heard. But best singer is a really subjective thing. Some people think Adele is the best singer, and she has not that great of technique. So it really depends on what you like and what you think of as good singing. If you think like a lot of personality is important, then maybe you'll like Adele. If you think that just like being able to sing like incredibly low and incredibly high is important, maybe Dimash. So it really just kind of depends. I'm not saying it's just Adele or Dimash. I'm just saying it's like whatever you think is important in singing is what makes for a great singer. But technically, he's definitely one of the best that I've ever seen. Wrapping up here, Natalie says, thank you for answering our questions. So appreciate it. By the way, I think you can catch me for your class with the 5 notes and the community. Awesome. Let's see if anyone has signed up yet. So I'll give you a special shout out. Let's see here. Yes, we've got our first enrollment. We've got our first 2 enrollments. Yes, we've got our first 2 enrollments in Master Your Voice. We've got Mary Beth Job and Kenny Elabiosu. Thank you guys so much for enrolling. Thank you guys so much for watching. You're welcome for answering your questions. I'm super excited to see you guys inside the course. And just let me know if you have any more questions. See ya.